let's give this to a girl.
Somewhere.
Hello.
Sure, here.
Hello, sir. My name is Nischala. So India has faced a lot of hypocrisy from a lot of countries since independence. So how far do we forgive and forget in this ever-changing geopolitics? And how do we make these decisions? Thank you.
Next time, guys. There's always a next time. Thank you.
So, look, where Africa is concerned, today, African countries, they've had a really rough time the last 4 or 5 years. Most of them were last receivers of vaccines. In many cases, the rates of vaccination were less. They went through a lot of travel issues. Their economies were very badly hit. Then came Ukraine. They took a hit on oil prices, on food availability, on wheat shortages. So their situation today is really, really worrisome. Therefore, what Prime Minister felt was, when we are doing our G20 chairmanship, presidency, we should actually talk to all the countries of the South and get their concerns and speak for them. And we did that exercise. We actually spent time, Prime Minister himself and about 4 or 5 ministers, and we actually engaged 125 countries, of which 54 of them were African. Today, Africa wants to go more digital. Africa wants to go more green. Africa has, like the rest of the world, developed greater awareness about health. I think there are ways by which our capabilities and our experiences can help them. What we should do is to actually support the growth of entrepreneurship, create, the infrastructure, the businesses there. It should not be the fate of Africa to become like a resource source for the world. There are 1 billion people who live out there. They are demographically younger than any other continent. So their talent also must be given a chance to express itself. And I think India would do its duty by providing options and alternatives. If you put options and alternatives on the table, I'm confident many people will exercise or choose some of them. Regarding space diplomacy, this is a new domain or newer domain. There are a lot of ongoing discussions about it. At a multilateral level, just like in the 60s, 50s and 60s, they were on nuclear issues. Today, space is an area really where different countries have competing interests. But space diplomacy is also can be bilateral. We have done launches for other countries. We have helped other countries make satellites or made them, customized it for them. We have done it for some of our neighbors. We did a launch for Bhutan. There are other countries who want today to utilize our capabilities out there. And we also, in fact, help countries or partner with countries in ensuring that their own satellite fabrication capabilities increase. So space is an area where there will be much more activity. To me, like chips, cyber, chips, space, these are today the new domains really of international cooperation and also of international competition. In terms of passport, we are working at it. We of course are hoping to launch sometime in the coming months a pilot project for the e-passport. But how do you strengthen the acceptance of the passport, the reputation of the passport? That will take time, because the way the index is made, the index itself is made in a way in which there's an inbuilt, I would say, bias in the index. I would not be too hung up on that hierarchy. I would be much more focused today that do we have, easy visa arrangements? When we travel abroad, do you have the backup of your government? When you go for employment somewhere, do you have the same rights as the people who are working out there? If you are a student, do you have the ability to work alongside your studies? Because for a lot of students, that is very important. So if we do all that, my sense is it would feed into the narrative of the contributing Indian in the global economy. I would rather go for a branding of the Indian rather than a hierarchy of the passport. To me, that is the right way to go. On the happiness index thing, I think you should actually tell everybody to come to Bangalore. I mean, you can see which is the world's happiest place. Particularly on a Friday night. So I don't know how these guys make up those indexes, okay? But I can only tell you one thing. A Singaporean friend of mine once told me, he said every time he travels out, he said, I just have to go to some place and look at the faces of people. That is my happiness index. And his sense was people in Europe didn't look that happy. People to him in India looked very happy. Now, I'm not necessarily saying I'll make an index out of it, but look, these are all mind games which people play. And finally, the forgive and forget. Do you forgive and forget? You should never forget. It's a big mistake. If you forget, you are not learning the lessons from it. If you forgive, it depends what you are forgiving. Some things I would never forgive. If somebody attacked my city, if somebody violated my sovereignty, I would never forgive it. And I would never forget it. So forgive and forget is nice in personal relations. I think nations need to have longer and better memories.